I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTracker.com, and today we're going to break down the Graves titanium full exhaust install on our 2018 STG GSX-R1000R project bike. Okay, you know we've already done the M4 full exhaust install. We're going to continue to install exhaust systems from other brands and use them throughout the course of this project. Next up for us is Graves. Let's talk about Graves' product line a little bit. Their quality is really close to a Krapovic, really close. You look at the welds, the overall fitment, super close. So I want you to think premium product. What's unique with Graves is, of course, all the racing they do. You've seen it here in AMA, Moto America, years of experience, years of product development. So you get that advantage, right, into their products. But they also have a partnership with FTECU. It's the flash tune stuff. We're able to take the OE ECU and have it flashed. What they're doing now is they're producing files and maps that are exclusively designed to be used with their exhaust systems. In order to get access to many of them, especially the newer ones, you have to buy the Graves exhaust, you have to have the FTECU flash tune kit, then reach out to Graves directly. They will then give you access to that exclusive map, which just has higher levels of effort and technology put into it to work directly with their system. That is a cool advantage for sure when thinking about this system. Okay, before we let you hear it, the Graves system weighs 14.15 pounds less than that gorgeous OEM system Suzuki put on here. When you install this, it does not allow you to reuse the stock exhaust sensor, okay? That's out of here. Another great reason to flash it is to get rid of the engine light. You're also gonna have your exhaust servo motor. It's up here in the tail. You'll be able to remove that with the ECU flash, turn that off. While you're doing all this, you're going to want to install a set of block-off plates too and remove the air injection system. Once again, to make sure there's no check engine light, flashing the bike will make sure there's no check engine light. So I really want you to think of this full exhaust project as the exhaust system, the flash tune, okay, and the block-off plate install. They really all need to be done together, and that's what we did on our STG project bike, okay? 8.85 pounds is the weight of this full titanium system. I'm going to start it now so you can hear the note. Of course, the engine's already warm. We don't start cold bikes and rev them here. That's bad practice. Looks great, sounds great, fits great. If you're interested in seeing how well the system fit and what it took to get the project done, just stay tuned. We're going to show you all that right after this. Okay, now we're ready to jump in to the installation of the full titanium Graves exhaust on the GSX-R1000R. The way they've set up the header, the two outer cylinders join into one little collector here. Okay, we're going to begin by installing this one. The two cylinders in the center kind of overlap and are going to be underneath this. So these two need to go on first. Let's double check our gaskets, okay, which I've already done that. They are in great shape. They are all properly installed and held firmly in there. Once we've done that, go ahead and slide this into position. I've got the radiator kind of supported out of the way. I'm using a bungee strap to hold it. You still want to be really careful not to ding it. Once I get this into position, I go ahead and grab a couple of the flange bolts and just get these started. Remember, this motor does not use studs. They're using actual internal hex fasteners. right, get that one going. Over the other pipe. Get that to seat. Okay, support it. This part can be a little tedious. You know, this is where having an extra set of hands can be a real benefit. Okay, now we're over to the other side. Just get these started. Really important too, these fasteners are run down evenly, equal pull. You don't want one bolt run down much further than the other. You want the gap between the flange and the cylinder head to be as even as possible from side to side. So for now, all I'm doing is just hand tight. Graves use really nice thick flanges on this system. A lot of the other brands are using thinner flanges. They distort a little easier. You know, this is kind of nice. Torquing the header down a little easier than it is with those thinner flanges. Okay, now the two center cylinders, same gig. Kind of get that thread up in there. Support it, and let's see if we can't get one of these bolts started here. You know, we've done so many exhausts this year on the Ninja 400. We just did one on the R3, just did a gray system on the R3, and man, those lightweight twins, man, that is a whole lot easier to work on. For sure, these 4 cylinders when you're doing a full system, a lot more tedious. Radiator is an issue, needs to be either removed or moved out of the way significantly. And then just even getting the header on the bike, very, very tight. So just take your time and essentially just repeat what we showed you on the other side. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and begin to torque these flanges down. I've got them all run down finger tight, nice and even. What I'll do is I'll go from side to side. Notice I've got my hand in between the radiator and the ratchet. Really want these to be as even as possible. If you're interested in using a torque wrench here, this is an area I definitely wouldn't consider it, to be honest with you, but if you want to use a torque wrench, go ahead and research the spec and torque away. What I'm going to do is just pass back and forth from side to side, nice even pull, get that torque to feel the same, and then I'll repeat this process on each one of the flanges. Okay, once we have all the flanges torqued down, we now need to pull the exhaust springs over, okay? You have to install it first on the flange, and then pull it down, let it pull up on that downpipe. That downpipe is actually inside of that spigot up there. We need to repeat this process for each of the 4 pipes. All the flanges have holes, one on either side of the bolt hole that will accept the spring. Okay, you got to get the spring to drop in and through, which on a 4-cylinder, you know, once again, we talked about this, there's a lot less access, a lot tighter here. So this could be a little bit of a challenge, but just take your time with it. Get it all dialed in, find the best possible location for each one of the springs. Spring tool is really nice to have here. This is one I have from a previous install. You can also use a pair of side cutters if you don't have a spring tool. But that should give you the general idea of what needs to happen up here. Okay, I got all the springs in. Let me tell you, that was a lot of fun. One of them was tough. It's always that way. I'm going to put just the tiniest little bit of high temp anti-seize inside this mid pipe right here at the joint. Very thin layer. Just helps prevent corrosion. So if and when we do remove this from the bike, it'll come back apart. Also makes sliding it together a little bit easier. Okay, now come on over here. And let's slip this into position. You know, and look at this. I mean, this is really with Graves, right? This is part of what you're paying for. I mean, see how easy that just slid in there? And I've got the front already all bolted together. We're now going to take the spring tool. Put both the springs on. This will help us pull it together the rest of the way, okay, because those slip joints aren't all the way in yet. Gotta go just a little bit further. When you have that little bit of tension on them, that just helps finish that off. We'll manipulate that a little bit until that hole is perfectly lined up and we're just about there. I'd like to point out right now, okay, we will not be reusing the O2 sensor. I'm gonna flash this bike. We're gonna flash tune it. It does have a bung back here if you want to use exhaust sensor for tuning purposes, you can do that. But the OE sensor, this system eliminates that. It's better flow. We're going to do a flash on this motorcycle too. That'll be one of the next videos that we'll be doing. So that will eliminate this. It is no longer necessary. Going to go ahead and mount bolt in here for that mid pipe. Notice how literally right through there it's lined up perfectly. I did put a little thread locker on that bad boy. Come on back here to the can. This is designed to work with the OE exhaust bracket. This is the bracket I have on here right now from the M4 system that was installed, the first one that we did. So we're just going to reuse that because I don't want to put any passenger pegs back on this. Get this slid on. Let's grab some hardware here. It's again just a little thread locker. Go ahead and torque all that up now. I'll put the spring on right here. Pretty easy install. Stuff fits really nice. As mentioned previously too, one of the real benefits with the Graves stuff is they have a deep relationship with flash tune, okay? You buy a Graves exhaust, you can get access to the Graves map that they built specifically for their system. The only way to get access to the Graves map is to be running a Graves exhaust. Okay, if you're running a different brand exhaust at this point, you cannot get the token to use that map. Go ahead and snug all the hardware up here. And up here, 6 internal hex. Okay, now, very important. We're not done. We've got to put the radiator all back together. Before I do that though, I want to wipe the entire system down. Any fingerprints you have on here, oily fingerprints, you leave those and start the bike, they're going to burn right into that titanium pipe. It's going to look like shit. You don't want that. What am I going to clean it with? I'm going to clean it with Maxima MPPL. One rag, spray some on, wipe the system down, a new fresh dry rag, dry it all off, and then start the bike.